Hello, this is a little video for Mario. Hi Mario, Eddie here. I'll just go through some of your points, and been meaning to do a little bit of a video like this for some other people too, because this seems to be something that comes up quite a lot. So let's just we'll just make this a video about autofocus on a K1. So I'm gonna head in here and see if we can get this video to focus a bit better. All right, okay, so that's it, focused. Um, so yeah, so we're at the moment we're in OVF mode, right? Because the screen's like this. If we're in live view, it's a different thing altogether in live view. So we'll go into that in a minute. We'll stick with OVF focus at the moment. You'll notice that I'm on spot, right, for my focus point. Somewhere on the website, it talks about how the center point of spot, not this one, right? Okay, that's different, all right? So we're not talking about that spot. Okay, we're actually talking about this one specifically, all right? That one is more accurate than any other one, okay? I think it's got something like 22%, 33%, I can't remember what, but it's more accurate than any other AF point mode for the OVF. All right, that single mode there. When you are in this mode here, these three are more accurate, but they're still not as accurate. Not even that one is as accurate as, where are we? The spot. All right, I'll find you the resource. I'll try and link it. It's on the actual official Ricoh Japanese page, I think, for Pentax. It talks about how to get the most out of your AF. So I quite often use that one for OVF. By the way, I have a Tenpa 1.2 magnify here as my OVF. It just zooms me in a little bit more, and I find that a little bit better. I find this viewfinder a lot better than the Pentax OEM53 or whatever it's called. I find that one's mushy at the sides. This one is sharp in the middle and to the left and right of the OVF. So I like this one more. Now, so yeah, so let's go through the modes as well. Let's go to the menu. Okay, so how many of you know about all this stuff? Okay, so camera does two types of autofocus: phase detection and contrast. That's live view and that's OVF. Okay, let's go in here. So AFS tends to be a little bit more accurate than AFC, but we'll get into that in a minute. There's the spot and the AF settings. Okay, this is focus priority. Do you know what that is? Okay, so focus priority. I don't know if this is coming up very well. I'm just trying to play around my phone camera. Okay, so focus priority means that when you push the shutter down, it won't take a shot until it's found focus, right? Release priority means it's going to take a photograph anyway, even perhaps before it's found optimum focus, all right? Typically, I'm always on focus priority. It becomes even more important for live view modes, shooting modes in live view. I'll talk about that in a minute. But a few instances where I've needed to use release has been places of very bad light, such as concerts and photography pits at a concert event. The light can be so poor that by the time you've found focus on the singer or whatever, and it wants to take a shot, the singer's moved. He's moved somewhere else. And I've literally, for about 45, 50 seconds, tried to take a photo in focus priority at a concert and not a single shot fires off because and I'm shooting with primes as well. Like I'm shooting with f1.8 lenses, like FA77s and things like that. It's just too dark, too crap a light situation, and it just fails to lock on to the target, and the target just keeps moving. So you get nothing. You're not even taking any shots. It just continually hunts and can't find. And by the time it does lock, he's moved on. It's maybe taken the shot, but he's blurry because he's moved on. So yeah, release priority is needed for some situations, but it's very rare. More often than not, I'll use focus priority. So yeah, that's what that one is. I would recommend using that more often than not. And then we go into AFC. Okay, so all these things, first frame, focus priority. So it's the same sort of thing again. It's like it's telling you how to. I don't really know how it works out for auto, but again, it's the same thing. It's like when we do an AFC, like, do you want me to do it focus priority? Do you want me to just get cracking on with taking shots? Do you want me to find the focus first and take shot in the first frame, or just get cracking on? So again, I usually like to start off on the right foot, so I leave that on focus priority. Action. So again, it's the same sort of thing. So like when you are tracking with AFC mode, it's going to continually not take a shot until it's locked on to a subject. So let's say you've got a child running towards you, right? And you're in AFC mode and you're locked on and you're burst firing at that target coming towards you. It's still only firing a shot when it's finding focus lock. All right. So you might get less shots fired in AFC mode in this mode, right? Whereas if you went frames per second priority, what it's basically doing is it's just going anyway. And some will be soft and out of focus and some will be on. It's kind of a little bit more like luck. So again, you can play around with this and see which mode you prefer. I tend to still stay in focus priority. I actually do a lot of my action in JPEG mode. It gives me a lot better buffer limits and I capture more moments. I don't have to worry about the camera crapping out after 13 shots fired, etc., etc. So that's what that mode is. Hold AF status, I tend to have it off. So what that is it continually hunts. Sometimes people find it hunts too much. I don't think I find it too bad, not for that purpose. Where you would want it on low, medium, or high is, say you're doing wildlife or something, and you're tracking a birdie or like an animal, and it's went into the grass or behind branches or twigs in a tree, and you don't want the focus to shift onto the branch or twig that's in the foreground that the animals went behind. That's when you might want to use low, medium, or high. So it will keep AF at that focal plane of where the animal once was and not switch and continually hunt. I don't do a lot of that stuff. So for things like kids and stuff like that running around, I want it to continually track all the time. So I actually don't want it to be lazy. I want it to continually update. So I have it set to off. All right. I'm just going to look on the thread here, see if there's what other issues you had. Okay, so in terms of technique, I use FA limiteds. They don't have quick shift, so I'm quite used to using the AF MF lever over here. So when I I can't do it because I don't have my eye up to it. But if I'm using spot mode, I'll I'm half press to get the focus, recompose, and then if I think it's fine, take the shot. If not, then I will quickly do a little click on here and adjust the focus, then take a shot. Sounds like it's convoluted. It's just a little bit like using quick shift. And with practice, you can get around it. So, you get the person in the middle of the frame, half press to get focus, hold down this button, which will stop it refocusing again. So you capture the person's face or the eye, first of all. And then I go, yeah, I'm happy with that. I'll then hold down this button, maybe recompose if I want them off, and then if need be, I hit the switch and use manual focus. And I'm kind of just manual focusing with my fingers sort of down here. But to be honest, you don't need to do that much. I usually find straight away. Another thing that some people do, and I quite often do, is a small miniature Brenner. So if I want focus of the person on the edge of the frame and not in the center, then what you can do is you can just take your first shot, hold, you can lock exposure as a wise thing to do, but you lock exposure, take your first shot, and then take another shot slightly to the left of it or the right. And then you stitch the two together. And then what you would get is the person was sharp here, and you've got another shot that's over here with more framing, and the two shots stitched together, you can get an off-center portrait. So that's just like a little tip there. When I'm in JPEG mode, I quite often would use this one because sometimes I might want to track when they're off a little bit. I don't mind doing this so much for this mode because I back button focus typically. You can hear it whirring away there. and then I'm taking the shots when I want, boom, 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 with the front one. And so therefore, because the person's moving around, I might, so yeah, so it does depend. Sometimes I use this one, sometimes I do spot. It really just depends on the situation. So yeah. Let me see. I don't think I've ever really come across anything like Shutter Shock. Not enough for it to matter. I just don't think I've ever come across it. I think Shutter Shock is something you're going to see more when you're shooting on a tripod with a certain lens at a certain shutter speed. For handhold running and gun and stuff, I just don't find I've ever had that. I don't think I've really had blurry shots at that kind of shot kind of shutter speed. I just don't think I really have it. Um, yeah, so that's it. Let's have a look at live view. So in live view mode, what I will do a lot is use face detection because I do a lot of portrait work. We can't really demonstrate that here because I've got no person to find. But how this works in reality is it's important that I have it. Go back in this menu here. I have it on face detection. I have it focus peeling off. I have it on focus priority. Really, really important, especially when working with kids. So don't have this on release priority if you are doing face detection or anything like that. Why? It's quite simple. You just, pretend there's a face down here. But basically, I just push my finger fully down. I don't bother with the half pressing. I just push it down and it will not take the shot until it's found focus on a face. Simple as that. All right, but that's what it would do with in this mode here. So it would and then takes a shot. But you don't have really anything. I don't have a face. I suppose I could get my mannequin out and dig it out. But yeah, it won't take a shot until you fully pressed it down, and I find that really good. It's really good for kids, you see, because kids move so quickly. Sometimes for adults, you don't need to do that, but with kids, I don't bother half pressing. I just push it down, and it takes a shot immediately once it's found focus, and that's really important for kids because they move so quick that if you do that half push and go, now I'll take the shot, there's a chance they've moved just a little bit and the shot's gone soft or off. Other things that a lot of people don't know about, right? Okay, so people don't understand tracking. Tracking's really useful. It's a little bit like you half press down and then you can kind of, it's a bit stupid with, hang on, I'll put something on the floor. I'll put this coffee mug, hang on. Oh. Where does that work? Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Oh, I'm getting old. All right, so with this one, how you do it is you can, it always starts off in the middle. You half press it, and now you can take it away and then take the shot. But you can even get even better results so I'm wide open right now, right? Look at my settings, okay? I'll see if I can focus a little bit better down there. Yeah. So I lock it. Hang on. There you go. I move away, and then I take off, and then I lock again and take the shot. That's a nice way to get a sharp shot with your frame off. There you go. Get the point? Look at that dirty coffee mug. But you can see, look, that's pretty sharp, right? And that's 1.9, f1.9 of 43, and it's off center. So that's what that mode's for. People don't seem to understand. So it starts off in the middle, and then you can click it and drag it, and then take off. Now, if you weren't to take your finger off, then and take the shot, it could be soft because you've changed the focal plane quite a lot, right? But you've taken it off, and then you take the shot. All right. So that's what tracking is. Really useful, actually. It just depends if it's got something to lock on. You might find, for example, if you do the floor, it struggles. It moves around a little bit more, and sometimes it can get very confused and stuff like that. So, yeah. So that's AF tracking. I'll come back up here. Yeah, multiple points, right? So a lot of people don't know that if you in this mode and you press the plus button on the camera, you've got a whole grid to muck around with and go quickly around. Not only that, you can change the size of it. It's a really cool mode. So it's just like cell point, but you can change how big it is. All right. So same thing again. So that's in multiple AF points, and you hit the plus button. Let's see if I can change it. Yeah, see that button there? You hit that one to get the grid up, and you use a directional pad to move around. And yeah, and then we have this one, which it's just slower, right? It's slower than the AF point grid one, but it's a little bit more accurate. So I use this one quite a lot for landscape. I tripod it up, and I really want to make sure I get that flower in focus in the foreground on a landscape shot. That's maybe the mode I would use there. And then what else we've got? And we've got spot, which I hardly ever use in live view mode. I just use all the tricks. If I'm going to use spot, I tend to just use spot in that mode there. All right. I think that's it. I can't really think. I'll have a look at your notes and see if I've missed any points. Oh yeah, one last thing is, so what a lot of people don't understand is when you're in the menu and you've done your fine adjustments, okay, they only apply to phase detection, right? So phase detection, which is OVF, takes into account forward and back focus and issues. All right. So any +3, +10, +8, -4, whatever settings that you have, to fine tune your focus for your lenses from here, they're only applicable when you're looking through the OVF. All right. When you're in live view mode and you're doing any of this kind of stuff, none of those adjustments come into the equation. It doesn't work. It's a completely different focusing system. All right. So be aware of that. It's why I always tell people, when you got a new lens and you're testing it for sharpness, test it here in live view mode. And in fact, you can just toggle live view off and just manual focus it. Get right in, zoom in, and and then you can manually focus and then take a shot. And you can work out, do I have a nice lens or not, just from working out through manual focus and live view its sharpness. What you're then trying to do is get this to perform at the same level that you're getting through either manual focus or live view AF mode. Live view AF mode is highly underrated. It is very, very useful. However, it's not without its problems. It's a bit more awkward to hold the camera out, but it's really nice that you can, flip the screen out and bring it down and hold it to your chest, and do stuff like that. Or when I do weddings, I tilt it down, I have it way above my head, and that's really, really advantageous for unique perspectives. It's a really, really, really useful mode. And its AF typically is far more accurate, but it's not without its problems. So when you are, say, in this mode here, this mode here especially, when you are here, look how big the spot is. It's quite a big spot, so it can get confused and not always get focus where you want. Say, for example, in this coffee, and you focus here, it might not necessarily get the right focus where you want it. It might have it more in the back of the mug rather than the front of the mug rim, stuff like that. Whereas your other modes here, using this one here, is more likely to be a little bit more like a small pinpoint of accuracy. But having said that, when you get focus with this, it's usually pretty good. It's not going to be massively off. You're not going to get a really blurry cup, and it's just completely like focused here or here. It's actually typically has done a really good job. So where it gets limited is when something is very, very far away, and you're trying to focus, say, on a bird in a tree with this miles away. It's just not going to work. It's just too far away. So it's that kind of like 0 to 5 meters, away. It's fantastic focus. It's accurate, and a lot of the portrait work I do, it's a one take shot. Especially face detection, I don't need to worry again. Or as I say, the AF tracking. There's been some times when I shoot cosplay events and people have masks or glasses or sunglasses on. Face detection will not work under those situations. Actually, it's really eye detection. It prioritizes the eye more often than not. Like, I'm talking 9 out of 10 times when you use face detection, wide apertures, the eyes will be absolutely sharp. The nose and will be out of focus. The ear's out of focus. It's not really face. It's really eye. I don't know why they called it face detection, because if you cover the eyes, it just doesn't work. So when those are situations where face detection doesn't work, and I might use this mode, it can be far quicker just to get the shot off. And usually they're just a one take shot. There are far less misses and soft focus issues and stuff like that. So yeah, but not only that, quite often when I'm shooting an event, I'm shooting one-handed, camera here, one hand. I'm holding flash in the other. It's not easy to take this up to the eye and know what you're doing with your flash and compose that way. So quite often I just find it easier to get an idea of what's going on around, especially an event where things and people are moving around. I want to kind of know what's going on around me and not have my eye stuffed down here. So yeah, I just use what I use when I need to be honest, I shoot a lot more live view than I do OVF. I just find the OVF garbage. The focus screen inside is so difficult to really give you focus feedback as to whether you've got something in focus or not. Even with focus and aid stuff, it's still really difficult. I've heard of people changing the focus screen and having exposure problems and AF issues and stuff like that. So I don't really think that's a viable solution. You just have to, I just leave it on spot because it is the most accurate of all the AF modes to use through the OVF. And either I focus on the person and take a shot and take a second shot to left or right of it if I want them off center, or if I'm happy with them in the middle of the shot, just take it there. And that's about it. But quite often not. When I do weddings and stuff, like these lenses are noisy. I don't want to really hear that clunking going on near the bride or groom as they're saying their vows. So do you know what? I'm out. I just manual focus it. Quite often just do that. Maybe a small amount of magnification, not like that big. Maybe something like that, and just sort of manual focusing and just taking shots like that. Sometimes I manual focus through here as well and just take control. I just think the AF mode is it's not great. It's its Achilles heel for sure. Be interested to see what they do next with a new DSLR. All right, I hope that helps. All right, cheers, bye.